Hey, this is Dennis with BestMyTest.com, and welcome back to our TOEFL Speaking section series. Today we're going to talk about Speaking Tasks 2. If you're looking for Speaking Task 1, you can click the link down in the description. It'll take you to our video on that, on Speaking Task 1. So today we're going to talk all about Speaking Task 2. We're going to cover the structure of the test, and then we're going to go over an example question together. I'll give you some answer templates. I'll also give you some expressions used to express your opinions, some sentence patterns to express your opinions. And finally, we'll finish up with the most important part, which is the grading rubric. All right, let's get started with the structure. All right, Speaking Task 2. On the old TOEFL, this was Speaking Task 3, and now it's Speaking Task 2. This is an integrated style question. That means you're going to read a passage and listen to a conversation. So first up is the reading passage. This is about 100 words and you have 50 seconds to read it. Usually it's a campus announcement or a letter published in the campus newspaper or an article published in the campus newspaper. Now they all deal with a change, either a change that just happened or one that is proposed to happen soon. After you read that, you're going to listen to a conversation. It's between two people, a man and a woman, and one of them is going to give a very clear opinion about the change or the proposed change. And then that person is going to list two reasons why he or she holds that opinion. After you listen to the conversation, then you're going to see a question. And it might look something like this. The woman expresses her opinion about the announcement. State her opinion and explain the reasons that she holds that opinion. After you hear that question, you're going to have 30 seconds to prepare and then 60 seconds to answer the question. Does that make sense? Okay, now you understand the structure of Speaking Task 2. Let's walk through an example together. Now remember, you only have 50 seconds to read the passage, and during that 50 seconds, you want to take notes. But you don't want to take too many notes. Some students, they spend way too much time taking notes on very little details that are not important. So from the reading, what you want to take away is the change. Number one thing you want to know about is the change. And then if you feel confident, take notes on one or two details, but that's it. Okay, so in a second, we're going to put a reading passage on the screen, and it's going to be on the screen for 50 seconds, just like a test. So you can use it right now as an example, to mimic a test. All right, here we go. Okay, so you just finished reading the passage. Now let's listen to the conversation. But first, let me show you my notes from the passage. So I wrote down the change, R1, R2, that stands for reason 1, reason 2. The university wants to reduce heating costs by turning down the temperature in buildings after 5 p.m. on work days and all day on weekends. And they think this will not have a negative effect on student studies. Okay? Now, if that seems like a lot to you, no big deal. That's okay. Focus on the change. The change is the most important part. And if you have any time or brain power left, then feel free to take down additional notes. Now, before we listen to the conversation, let me show you my note structure for that. So I make a little table. I have male and female at the top, man or woman, because I know it's probably going to be one of those two. And then I have reason 1, reason 2 on the side, on the left side. And then as I'm listening to the conversation, I'm just going to fill in the chart. When I hear the first reason, I'm going to write that in. If it's the man talking, I'm going to write under him. If it's the woman, under her. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to that conversation.
Now listen to the two people discussing the passage you just read.
What on earth is the university thinking?
You're talking about their plan to put us in the freezer after 5 every day?
Yes, and don't forget weekends. Don't they realize that those buildings are used after hours as well? My study group meets there, for example.
Can't you move to the library?
There are not enough rooms reserved for group meetings in the library. Can you imagine what would happen if all the study groups met in the general studying areas? The noise would disturb everyone trying to study in silence.
I get your point. Lots of people would be stuck without a meeting place, especially in the middle of winter. What do you think is the solution?
Well, for starters, they should pay a company that specializes in energy efficiency to help them make these buildings more energy efficient. I am sure they will be told to replace those old windows. If they can control heat loss through windows and walls by using better insulation, they can save a lot of energy.
You mean invest in new technology and building material now to save energy later?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's speaking task 2. And it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. As long as you pay attention, it can really get those 2 reasons out of the conversation. That's the most essential part. Now, because it's pretty straightforward, some students get a little bit cocky. And during their 30 seconds of prep time, they get lazy, they relax, they don't really do much. That's a bad idea. You really want to take those 30 seconds to prepare your notes and prepare the structure of your answer. Right? And we'll go through that now. All right, here are my notes on the conversation. So as you can see, I only wrote something down underneath the female, underneath the woman. So she disagrees, pretty straightforward. The classroom is used for group meetings. The library doesn't have enough meeting rooms. The solution, improving insulation and reducing heat loss through windows and walls. So when I'm taking notes, what I want to be able to do is afterwards, when I'm prepping for the question, is that I can go through them really quickly and really refresh my memory on what I heard. And then from the notes, I know that it's the woman who disagrees, and I know why she disagrees. But sometimes it's difficult to write down all the details during the conversation. So do your best and try to write down as many as you can without sacrificing your listening comprehension. I'm going to say that again because it's important. You must comprehend what you hear before you can take notes on it. So make sure you understand, and then with whatever listening and brain power you've got left, take notes and focus on those 2 reasons. All right, the bottom line is you need to organize your thoughts clearly within your 30 seconds of prep time. Don't waste it. Don't relax. Use it. All right, so now let's move on to the answer part and have a detailed look at how best to answer this question. All right, so to get a high score on this task, your answer must cover all of the following. You must say what the campus passage is about. You must say what the student's main opinion is. And then you must give the 2 reasons for that opinion. Your answer has to have all 3 of those things. So here's an answer template that we recommend. It's going to cover 2 scenarios. One is for a scenario where the student agrees, and the other is for when a student disagrees. Here we go. So agree, the man or woman agrees with the announcement or the letter or the article, whichever is appropriate, which is about, and there's a blank there, and that blank you put in the change. What is the proposed change? There are 2 reasons why the man supports the announcement. One reason is that, and there you go, give your answer. Another reason is that, and there you add the second reason. Therefore, these reasons are why the man believes that whatever is a good idea. Okay, so the disagree is pretty similar. You're really just you're gonna change agrees to disagrees with, right? The woman disagrees with the announcement, which is about the topic, There are two reasons why the woman opposes, right? That's an important word, opposes the announcement. One reason is that, and there you list her first reason. Another reason is that, and there you list her second reason. And therefore, in conclusion, you can say, therefore, these reasons are why the woman believes that whatever the topic is not a good idea. Okay, just to remind you, it's more important to focus on the opinion and the two reasons. So if you don't have time for a conclusion, that's okay. Focus on those two reasons and the main opinion. All right, let's try to answer this question using a template. The woman disagrees with the announcement, which is about the university's plan to reduce heating costs. They want to lower the temperature in classroom buildings after 5 p.m. during the week and for the entire weekend. The woman disagrees with this plan for two reasons. One reason is that even though there may not be classes in the buildings, students still use them for group meetings. The alternative is to use the library for these meetings, but there is not enough dedicated meeting space to accommodate all the after-hour group activities. Another reason is that she feels there's a better solution to reduce heating costs. Instead of lowering the temperature, the university can invest in improving the overall energy efficiency of the buildings by improving insulation and reducing heat loss through windows and walls. Therefore, the woman believes that lowering the temperature in classroom buildings after 5 o'clock every workday and on weekends is a bad idea. All right, notice that in this template we use agree with, disagree with, support, and oppose to report the opinion. There are other words and phrases that we can use to express our support or opposition. For example, we can say be in favor of or to approve of for expressing support. Let's take a look at two examples. There are two reasons why the woman is in favor of the change. The woman approves of the new rule to reduce paper waste. Likewise, you can be against something, you can be in opposition to something, you can be opposed to something instead of oppose something. So here's some examples. There are two reasons why the woman is against the announcement. There are two reasons why the woman is in opposition to the announcement. There are two reasons why the woman is opposed to the announcement. All right, look, I know it's a lot of information. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But I just want to talk to you about these things because they're very common mistakes that students make. For example, I've seen students saying something like, the man agrees for the campus announcement, or the man is in favor for the announcement, or even the man opposed to the letter published in the newspaper. Prepositions can be tricky. So the correct way of saying these things should be, the man agrees with the campus announcement. The man is in favor of the announcement. The man opposed the letter published in the newspaper. Or the man is opposed to the letter published in the newspaper. It's really important that you use the correct preposition. I cannot overstate that. All right, I hope you now you know how to report an opinion using different expressions. But if you want to just keep it simple, use the word support and oppose in your response. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's better to use a simple expression correctly than a more advanced expression incorrectly. So my advice to you is just follow the template and practice as many questions as you can. Keep it simple. All right, we're almost done with today's lessons, but let's look at the most important part, the grading rubric. All right, so here's the rubrics table for the TOEFL Integrated Speaking task. You can download it from ETS. There's a link here on the screen, and there's also one down below in the description. So I'm not going to go over the ETS description. I'll leave that for you to look at, but I am going to kind of talk about it in normal, everyday, simplified English. So the first criterion is general description. And here you need to answer the question directly. Make sure you answer the question. Some students, they have a great elaborate answer, but they forget to answer the question. So keep it simple, stay on topic, and make sure that it's easy for the TOEFL rater to follow. Very important. All right, the next is topic development. So here, the key word is transition. Make sure you're using transition words correctly, adequately, and appropriately. You want to make sure that you have at least 2 or 3 in your answer so that your idea flows smoothly from one idea to the next. So, and remember that the examiner expects you to answer the following thing. Your answer should talk about what the reading passage is about, the student's main opinion, and their 2 reasons for that opinion. Make sure your answer has all 3 of those things. Next up is delivery. And here, you want to speak in a calm, clear, and natural manner. And top tip, remember, natural comes from caring. So if you can care about the topic, you're going to sound more natural, more fluent. Your pronunciation and intonation should allow the TOEFL raters to easily follow what you're saying. Now this criterion in particular often separates scores on the speaking section that are higher than 26 and scores that are lower. So if your goal is to get above a 26, spend extra time here and make sure that you're speaking in a natural, fluent way. All right, last but definitely not least is language use. You want to make sure that your sentences use different structures. You don't want to speak the same way all the time. That sounds like a robot. That's not natural. You also want to make sure you're using correct vocabulary. Like I said a moment ago, advanced vocabulary is great if you can use it correctly. And it's terrible if you can't use it correctly. So make sure that you are using words that you are sure you know how to use. Otherwise, it might backfire on you. All right, so that's the criteria for getting a high score on Speaking Task 2. All right, you made it to the end. Congratulations. Well done. So just a quick recap. We talked about TOEFL Speaking Task 2, the structure of it. We gave you an example answer, a template to use to answer the question, as well as many useful expressions. And then we covered what I think is the most important part, and that's the criteria for scoring well on this task. I hope you found this video useful. If you want some more practice for Speaking Task 2, as well as the other questions on the speaking section, go to our website, www.bestmytest.com. We've got plenty of questions there, and we're adding more all the time. In our next video, we're going to cover Speaking Task 3. Now, it's an integrated question as well, but it's more difficult. And it's more difficult because it's an academic question. It talks about an academic topic. So make sure you check out that video. All right, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. Please keep watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.